It had been a bumper weekend in May 2013 for big concerts. Bon Jovi had performed at the FNB Stadium on the Saturday night, and then Justin Bieber played back-to-back on Sunday. All the cash from the concession stands at both concerts was packed into a secret safe room in a cavity in the parking lot. But on Monday morning, when staff came in to count and collect, it was all gone. An audacious heist out of an Ocean's 11 movie had apparently been pulled off. It appeared that robbers had spent days chiseling through the double-thick wall of the strong room, moved the lintels, and then used rope to drop nearly 4 meters into the safe. Officials immediately suspected it was an inside job. Now, 4 years later, the man who was contracted to head up security for big concerts, Ferguson, is speaking out about the incident and has revealed a report he wrote about the heist investigation.
I got a phone call on that Monday morning to say that there had been a robbery. So we were there probably shortly after it had been discovered, but we weren't allowed to go into the premises because the police had sort of semi-closed it off. The police per se hadn't really arrived. The station van was there. So the security guards on site, they had been inside the place and had a look, and they'd obviously compromised the scene to a certain degree. We had to wait for the detective guys to arrive from Boys and Saps, and only after they'd all left and taken their fingerprints and dusted and all the rest were we allowed to go inside. So that's where we started our own little investigation.
He now says the crime scene was badly contaminated and a ladder that they thought had been left there by robbers had actually been put there the morning after the incident.
Our deductions, well, we thought we had hit pay dirt with the ladder, for example, that was in there. We had fingerprinted it. I then started following back because the ladder is locked up in a storeroom. It took us almost a whole day to trace the ladder back to a storeroom that had been opened that morning, and they brought the ladder in after the fact. So that wasted a couple of hours just trying to find the ladder, because if we had found who opened the storeroom for the ladder, we might have had somebody that might have been involved. We then dug a little bit further, and that's where we came up, where we discovered that the lintels had been moved from the roof, and that gave you access to the room without going through the swipe card.
Over the years, there have been numerous conspiracy theories that have been chased up. The money was spirited out the stadium in the wheel well of a car. It was hidden in the walls of a house belonging to the stadium's maintenance manager. A psychic had visualized it was buried under a tree in a garden.
There were 3 different tip-offs from different people. The one guy called in to the stadium, and he said he knows where the money is and he knows who was involved. So that phone was passed over. He didn't want the police involved. So that was passed on to myself. I gave the guy a call. I reassured him that definitely no police involved, that we're private. I could meet him. It will be confidential. We never met him. He never came to the party. It was probably just because we had put a reward out. At that stage, it wasn't really a substantial reward, which eventually became 10% of what was recovered, ultimately. So if whatever was recovered, there would have been a 10% reward for whoever brought the information. Somebody else came in with SMSs to Jacques, the CEO of the stadium. He passed that on. We tried to follow up with that as well. Nothing came of that. We then heard stories that the stuff went out in the wheel well.
So tell me more about that.
There was a car that went out in the spare wheel and the money was put into the wheel well. We tried to follow up on that. No cameras are working in that area, so we couldn't pick up on any camera footage. That became a sort of hearsay more than anything else. We then found that there was a psychic in Cape Town that was giving this information, which made the police involved, because now we were dealing with some of the specialised unit guys, I think from the Hawks. They became pretty sceptical about the information as to where it was, if it was a reliable source or not.
How did the psychic get involved?
I don't really know. It was through a connection of somebody in Cape Town that was involved with big concerts or big concessions that knew Wiener. And these guys went to this psychic and said, "Can you help us?" And this is where the information was coming from.
The police say the case is still open. Big concerts and the stadium have declined to comment on the mystery of the missing millions, but both parties have taken significant steps to improve cash management and ensure such an incident does not happen again. Mandy, Wiener, Eyewitness News.